There are hundreds of unique objects in the GD level editor, some used more than others. These are some of the least used features in Geometry Dash. The first feature you don't see a whole lot are these various types of chains. Back in the day, they were a more common sight, as the game didn't have much in the way of decoration. But today it's a different story, as 2.1 has plenty of options for making cool air deco, so the chains have become a little redundant. And speaking of the latest update, the shake trigger was introduced in 2.1, but never really caught on. All it really does is, well, shake the screen, and this can even be turned off in settings. It would make sense to use this trigger for the purpose of music sync during appropriate parts of a song, but creators seem to have better ways of accomplishing this, and so don't ever think to use shake triggers. The entire triggers section is full of the most and least used objects. An example of one in the latter section is the animate effect. It has several animation IDs which make the monsters open their mouths differently, which is typically used to make it look like they're shooting fireballs. These monsters were mainly used in 2.0 to make cringy boss fights, but boss fights nowadays are far more complex, so except for when you want to shoot fireballs out of your ground deco, the animate trigger is absent in most levels. Another thing that doesn't get much use is the assortment of fade triggers. Put simply, using one of these alters the way objects enter and leave your field of view. That's pretty much as far as they go in terms of usefulness. For our next example, we're leaving the trigger section behind for now and returning to decoration objects. The rainbow block designs were added in 2.0, but when creators tried using them in their levels, they quickly discovered that it was difficult to make them look good in a level. While there are ways to do this, many still consider the blocks to be useless and don't include them in their creations. But one feature that isn't useless is the subscribe button. By pressing it, you can be sure that you won't miss interesting commentary videos like this one, which I upload here every week. Now let's talk about our next underused feature, the background effect trigger. Whenever you're in a flying game mode, that's ship or UFO, the background is full of these particles, but the background effect trigger can toggle these on or off. These dots aren't even that noticeable most of the time though, so I understand why people usually don't care enough to place a trigger down. Our next object, which could use some more love, also relates to particles. It's this thing. Plop one of these anywhere and it'll spawn a particle effect there. They're typically employed to place black particles above ground spikes to spruce them up, which isn't a lot, but maybe they'll see more usage after the revamp they'll be receiving in 2.2. The particle effect is located in the yellow orb section, which also happens to be where you'll find the mirror portal. Mirror portals have built up a bad reputation over the years, as creators used to abuse them to form really weird effects, and also to make blind gameplay. In addition, they view the portals as totally useless. These two factors contribute to why the feature is so untouched. Personally, I wish this weren't the case, as flipping the screen back and forth can be a really cool addition to Geometry Dash levels. But alas, here we are. For more on why mirror portals should be used more, you can watch this video which I recently made. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider subscribing for more like it. Also leave a comment telling me if there are more unused features I overlooked, as well as your thoughts on the objects I included. As always, thanks for watching.